Plays have nothing to do with anything. That's just running around and made a great play, but those have no bearing on it at all.
Did you take the majority of the snaps with the first team on Wednesday, or did you not decide?
I just said, we're going to watch the tape, see how guys feel. We'll work with them Monday, Tuesday, and then put a game plan together and see what we decide for Wednesday.
Josh Simpson a little bit more today. Was that because of Trent Brown being out, or?
It has to do with a lot of things. Sometimes when you can do that stuff, if you're going against the right schemes, it can slow people down a little bit, give you not trying to make a living out of that stuff, but try to give them other stuff to worry about to make some other things a little bit easier. Sometimes it can help your protections. We got a few good looks of it today. We had a real unfortunate, I didn't see but the clipping call, the earlier one in the game, but we had a good game. We got that call back, but it's just offset guys and help our players, give them a better chance to be successful. Yeah, it does seem crazy because it seems like we're around him a lot. That's what he does very well, though. He's been doing it for a long time. That does surprise me. I thought we would have more sacks, but from what I saw out there, and we'll see tomorrow after I talk to you guys, after I get a better chance to watch the tape. But I thought our defense seemed to play very well. They gave us a chance to win this game, just like they did in week 2, and it seemed like they were around him a lot. But as always, Russell always makes some pretty good plays.
Is there any consideration of changing quarterbacks mid-game? You guys weren't able to move offensively a lot in the defense. You just said didn't give you a chance. Was there any consideration of going into me early?
If I felt that was because of the quarterback, I would have made a change.
All right, well then, I assume it went on after that. That's the snippet that we'll have for you, and as one would expect, it was all about the quarterback and questions that I guess have to be asked, and no way a coach can have any answers for that. Tomorrow afternoon, when Kyle Shanahan will meet with the press, he may have more ability to have something concrete about that. Yeah, it's got to be a little frustrating for him, all those questions immediately after the game. Listen, slow down, we'll take a step back, we'll evaluate like we do each and every week. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Jimmy Garoppolo under center next week, just based on the overall performance. And again, not putting it all on C.J. Beathard, who got hammered again today. Quite honestly, it's not a reflection on C.J. Beathard at all. No. It's, in fact, again, you traded an asset to bring in someone who was clearly an asset for a reason. And that's, well, anyway, you saw it in your other job this year. You saw where a coach had to make a decision by taking out a guy who had been successful at quarterback and had to put in the new guy. And that was probably, for David Shaw, was sure an agonizing decision. No, there's no question about it. So much goes into the offseason and getting everybody ready to play, and to make that switch, it's tough to go back. Not always, but it's tough to go back. And now, coaches may be made, faced with that decision again, for the third time in a season, have to change quarterback, and maybe, maybe his knee or his leg doesn't allow C.J. Beathard to play next week. Or maybe they want to see what Jimmy Garoppolo has. And Kyle Shanahan referenced there, what we talked about for 3 hours was that the difference in protection was very apparent, and it kind of shows the New York Giants game was a little bit of an aberration in the regard that was the game where the Giants didn't pressure the quarterback. C.J. Beathard was functioned beautifully. He had time, receivers ran routes, it was all good today. Seattle back with it, very good front pressure. It was just, and missing Trent Brown, which was a frustration. I know the 49ers were very hopeful he would be able to play today. He wasn't, and the tackles this year, when Joe Stanley and Trent Brown have played the same game, which sadly hasn't been often enough for the 49ers this year, when they both played, the protection has been pretty good. The outside flanks of the offensive line have been solid. Yeah, and again, Bennett and Wagner, two just outstanding playmakers. Yes, it would have been an improvement, but Bennett puts pressure on that offensive line pretty much every play, every week. And it's unfortunate that they had to go out there with an unproven rookie in Magnuson to try to slow him down. He didn't do a very good job of it, frankly. And Wagner came up with the one huge play in the first half. 40 pass attempts today by the 49ers. Only 18 of the 40 targets to wide receivers. And that is, there have been other games this year where that's been the 49ers situation not been a good one. All right, we'll come back with some final words. The Verizon postgame show on the U.S. Bank 49ers Radio Network.
49ers fans, join us December 17th as the 49ers take on the Tennessee Titans. Don't forget to bring your Levi's trucker jacket and swing by the Levi's mobile tailor shop out on the Faithful Mile to receive your limited edition patch. Remember, good things happen when you live in Levi's. Story of Niner Pete. Gold-blooded! Pete plays fantasy football on Yahoo for free because Niner Pete likes to feel the wins. Wins like drafting a team consisting only of Niners. Super Niners! And finding an obscure third-string kicker named Montana. Holy nuts! When the Niners win big, he wins big. That's faithful. Feel the wins, Niner Pete. Sign up for your wins at yahoo.com/fantasyfootball. Your witness, Count.
Thank you, Your Honor. So, we know you were at Arco on the night of July 3rd, but why? What is your secret?
I don't remember.
I have witnesses testifying you were there to fill up, but why Arco?
Because I needed their quality top-tier gas.
And why did you need Arco's quality top-tier gas?
Because it can help keep your engine clean.
And you like a clean engine, don't you?
The secret is out. Arco has quality top-tier gas. Benefits from continuous use. Enter first critical engine parts. Visit arco.com for details. Learn more at toptiergas.com.
This is Tim Ryan of the San Francisco 49ers for Dignity Health. Whether it's football or healthcare, the goal is forward progress. And that means never giving up. That means trying again and again and again. Because that's who we are and it's what we do. At Dignity Health, your doctors and nurses are dedicated to keeping you happy and healthy. And they will never give up on that because their goal is your forward progress. The official healthcare partner of your San Francisco 49ers. Dignity Health. Hello, human kindness.
KNBR 680. The Verizon 49ers postgame locker room report continues. Brought to you by 49ers.com. For the latest news and information on your team, go to 49ers.com. Now, here's Ted Robinson and Tim Ryan.
All right, back to wrap things up with Todd Hussack at Levi's Stadium, 24-13. Seattle with a win. We've probably exhausted the 49ers side. A little bit on Russell Wilson today. In the first half, was slightly off and was plagued by a ton of drops, more than we normally see. Much better second half. But here's a fascinating thing. Wilson rushed touchdown and throw touchdown in the same game, 12th time in his career. And actually, Andy Dalton's done that more. That stuns me when I find that out from McGrady. Andy Dalton and Cam Newton are the only guys in the league active who've done that more than Wilson. But here's the other one. Seahawks lost Monday night, come back and win today. Games following a loss, Russell Wilson is now 23-4, and it's the best in the Super Bowl era for any quarterback. Well, that tells you something, doesn't it? 23-4. And able to refocus. He also became the winningest quarterback in NFL history his first 6 seasons in the NFL. And I'll end on this story that I'll resurrect because I respect him tremendously. He's a wonderful guy, and his son is just finishing up a fabulous career at Stanford. Jeep Christ, when he was here, the 3 days or 4 days before that year's draft, and I asked Jeep, the 49ers had Smith and Kaepernick. They were not interested in quarterbacks. So I stuck my head in and I was asking him about Nick Foles, who I had seen play quite a bit in Arizona. And because, there's only 2 quarterbacks in the draft that I really think are guys that are worth it. One's that guy in Wisconsin, Russell Wilson, and the other guy's Kirk Cousins. I'm telling you the truth, that's a guy, absolutely true story. Well, and neither was drafted high, 3rd and 4th rounds. No, Cousins and even later, because Cousins drafted the same year as RG3. And what I didn't realize at the time was that Jeep had inside knowledge because his brother Paul was the quarterback's coach for Russell Wilson the 1 year Wilson played at Wisconsin. We all thought of Wilson as North Carolina State. We've forgotten that, that year anyway. So it just shows you how it reinforces what we should all know. We often forget how inexact this science is and how the 49ers tried to maybe skirt that inexactness by trading for their quarterback of the future that we saw flash here at the end of the game, as opposed to going in and worrying about which draft pick we're going to have and what the teams in front of you are going to do, and are we going to be able to draft Darnold or Rosen or Allen or whoever the heck's out there, et cetera, et cetera. You tried to short-circuit that process by trading for it.
Credit Seattle for recognizing that early on. They had brought in Matt Flynn, a big free agent contract.
Exactly right. it was Russell Wilson from the get-go. They gave him the job, and he has not looked back.
Todd, thanks for doing this today.
It was my pleasure. We should do it more than every 10 years.
Yeah, and actually, you know who I forgot to thank at the end of the game? Katie was that.
One of the best.
Giving you a day pass today. Katie,
A
thank you.
weekend pass. Working 3 jobs to provide.
Exactly.
No, but it was fun. I had a lot of fun today with you, and great working with you again.
And you can join in on one of our flagship stations in the Bay Area. You can join in Friday night. Todd will be on the air with Scott Reese to do the Pac-12 championship game right here with Stanford.
I'll just leave my stuff here.
USC. I'm not sure if you're here or not, but you could just do that. We invite you to join us next Sunday. We'll be at Soldier Field in Chicago for the 49ers and the Chicago Bears. It'll be an early kick, so we'll join you for the booth at 9 a.m. for the pregame and 10 a.m. for the kick for the 49ers and the Bears. We send our best again to Tim. Tim, we will look forward to seeing you on the plane to Chicago on Saturday. If you're listening on our flagship in the Bay Area, stay with us. As always, Larry Kruger, John Lund, and Merv Hanks will join you for far more football talk into Sunday night. The Seattle Seahawks win today, the final Seattle 24 and the 49ers 13. We thank you for spending your Sunday with us from Levi Stadium on the U.S. Bank 49ers Radio Network.
Hey now, Paulie Mack here for my friends at Ceremony Ford. From now until the end of the month, November 30th, Ceremony Ford is giving you 0% APR financing for 72 months, plus $1,000 Ford credit bonus cash on most 2017 models in stock. That's Ceremony Ford in Colma, Daly City, or CeremonyFord.com, and go ahead and tell them Paulie Mack sent you.
$13.89 per thousand financed on approved credit, not valid with any other offer or rebate. No down payment required. Expires 11/30.
Want to serve your 49ers fans a game-pleasing spread? Whether tailgating or watching the game at home, serve Foster Farms. As the official chicken and turkey of the 49ers, Foster Farms gives you endless ways to feed your fandom. From fresh chicken and ground turkey burgers for the grill, to turkey breast deli sandwiches, and to everyone's fully cooked favorites, Foster Farms crispy strips, corn dogs, and hot and spicy wings. This football season, feed your fandom with Foster Farms. Stock up now at your local Nob Hill.
Think you can't afford a new luxurious mattress? Think again. Right now, save up to $1,000 during Mancini Sleep World's largest mattress sale ever. Rest easy with $1,000 off a Certi-Perfect Sleeper Pillow Top mattress set, or upgrade to adjustable comfort for only $8.99. Enjoy free white glove delivery, free setup, and free mattress removal. And with no interest for up to 48 months, the savings really add up. There's a limited supply, so hurry into one of our 33 stores for the largest mattress sale ever. Mancini Sleep World. Visit sleepworld.com.
Hi, neighbor. This weekend is the perfect time to get into the Christmas spirit. Stop by your neighborhood Orchard Supply Hardware store for our very merry holiday event, Friday the 24th through Sunday the 26th. You can pick out the perfect tree from our tree lot, enjoy some cocoa, and snap your family's holiday picture at our photo booth. Plus, you can create an ornament from a fresh-cut slice of Christmas tree. We look forward to getting into the holiday spirit with you. Orchard Supply Hardware, home, hardware, and happy holidays.
With AT&T, you get more than just unlimited data. You also get HBO included for no extra charge. And you get more announcers, like this news anchor.
Thanks, Megan. This just in. With AT&T, you get more.
The soap opera presenter.
Once you watch HBO's dramas, you want more.
Movie trailer guy.
In a world of unlimited plans, one company, AT&T, gives you more blockbuster entertainment.
Game show guy.
With unlimited data and HBO for no extra charge, you are today's big winner!
And sports announcers.
Holy cow, that is an incredible deal. One word, bada boom, shakalaka.
Get HBO included for no extra charge with your AT&T Unlimited plan. Visit an AT&T store today.
Requires an eligible wireless plan and activating HBO. After 22 gigabytes per line per month, you may experience slower speeds. Benefits starts within 2 bills and may be billed and then credited. Channels and offers subject to change. Streaming and other restrictions apply. See att.com/unlimited for details.
KNBR 680. Welcome to the Red and Gold Wrap-Up. Stats, game analysis, and your calls on KNBR 680.
And good evening. Welcome to the Red and Gold Wrap. Larry Kruger, Merton Hanks,
John Lund. Getting ready to take your phone calls. If you're leaving Levi's and you want to talk a little bit about this one, feel free to pound out the number, 808-KMBR. 49ers lose to the Seahawks 24-13 to fall to 1-10. 9 straight defeats for the 49ers at the hands of the Seahawks. I know they're getting tired of that. Just a little bit too much Bobby Wagner, a little too much Russell Wilson, and the 49ers fans got a first look at Jimmy Garoppolo, and he's completing 100% of his passes, and he throws nothing but touchdowns. And we'll get into who should play next week. Interesting to know, Kyle Shanahan, guys, non-committal in the post game, says he's going to take a look at it this week, put these guys out on the practice field. But I get the sense that we're going to see Garoppolo next week against the Bears in his hometown. And we have Mert with us here in studio at Levi's, which is great to see. We'll let you jump in first, Mert. What do you think, Garoppolo or Beathard? You want to be? We'll take our first caller. We'll go to Merton in Texas. Merton, how are you? Welcome, first-time caller. Glad to have you.
Well, I appreciate being here. It was so much fun being in Levi's Stadium with the fans today. Look, you got to play him now. I mean, at this point, you've traded for him. You've gotten past the bye week. He's got an opportunity to get a glimpse at the offense and the personnel and that type of thing. And I actually like quarterbacks that are placed in 2-minute situations because they don't have time for a lot of exotic things, and you give them basic information and let them go play football and see what you have. And to your point, he's batting 1,000 right now. So let's see what we have.
So far, so good, huh, John?
Hey, so let me ask you this, because you can dissect this a lot better than I can. So he gets sacked. Beathard gets sacked 4 times, but he gets hit 13 times. Now, it's not all on the offensive line, and I'm not overreacting on Garoppolo, but what you saw from his plays was one was a scramble, one he moved one way and completed a pass, and then he moves to the left, and he looked a little Brady-ish in that I'm sure he's a good athlete, but he can kind of slide in the pocket. We can kind of gather that from him. But when you watch like a game like today and you see Beathard hit 13 times, young quarterbacks tend to hang on to the ball, maybe wait a little bit longer. But when you watch him, and I'm not looking for an exact number, but how much do you think is on the offensive line and how much is on a young quarterback who's holding the ball to?
Well, it's interesting because of the style of defense that Seattle plays, which is very similar to what the 49ers used to play under then defense coordinator Pete Carroll. So you kind of have a sense of what Kyle Shanahan is looking for in trying to attack that. I thought today that there were some balls that came out on time. I thought there were some balls that were late. And then I thought there were some balls that were rushed because there was, you hate to say it, but the facts are the facts. There was poor offensive line protection for him. Look, CJ's been taking a beating over these last 3 or 4 games. Let's just be honest about that. You've got to give that guy all the credit in the world. I do think his timing, and that was one of the things, as you know, that I complained about with CJ. It's like, man, your clock is kind of slow, man. You got to speed that up. He sped up, but now our offensive line is not where it needs to be. Anybody watching today's game recognizes that for what it is, and I think it's affecting his accuracy.
We only saw 3 plays, so we don't want to overreact, but just from watching Garoppolo's video from college days and what he's already done in the NFL, the one thing that really stands out about him, because there's bigger guys, there's faster guys, there's guys with a bigger arm, but this kid's got a very, very fast release, like a very fast release. I'm not saying it's Marino and Aaron Rodgers, but it's in that neighborhood. And I'm just kind of wondering, as a guy whose job was to break on the football, you started as a corner, you moved to free safety. Talk a little bit about that. When a guy's got a lightning quick release, how that impacts a defensive back.
Well, and I will add to that arm strength. Even though he doesn't have the strongest arm in the world, he has an adequate arm. He can make all the throws to go along with that quick release. I think that's probably one of the most vital of traits for an NFL quarterback in today's game. You've got to be able to get rid of the ball in a timely manner as a baseline to be an NFL quarterback. And then if you have a lightning fast release, look, Dan Marino was, because the guy never got, that's why he played forever. He never got hit because he was getting the ball out of his hands and he was incredibly accurate. So I think Jimmy, here's the thing I like about him. I'm sitting there watching him. I'm like, he kind of has that it factor. I kind of like that. You want your quarterback to have that it factor that your teammates gravitate towards. And then you get a little bit of validation. He comes in, hey, he makes a couple of nice plays, throws the ball in the end zone, touchdown. Okay, let's see what we can do with this. That's important for your quarterback to have. Not saying CJ doesn't have that, but that Jimmy Garoppolo, he definitely has that it about him, and I want to see them expand on that.
I don't want to be the guy who just, is, Johnny negative on the fans, but come on, people. Pump the brakes on let's cheer. Now, there's two different perspectives on this. Some people would say they weren't booing, they weren't cheering the departure of C.J. Beathard and the injury, that they were really cheering the on-trotting Jimmy Garoppolo. But if
they did jump the gun, the guys lay on the ground. Will you at least clear the body from the field before you start cheering?
It played like it was in poor taste. What was your reaction when you heard that?
Come on, that looked bad. Let's just call that bad. It looked bad. It sounded bad.
It really did.
We all want Jimmy to come in, and we want him to do well, but you want him to come in under the right circumstances, not having one of his comrades coming out due to injury.
Yeah, no, but the one thing about Beathard is that he clearly. He's got the toughness. There's no question. There's some toughness there. Nobody's going to question the toughness. In fact, to the point where you saw both teams taking a knee there at the end, I thought that injury was severe. Shanahan said the postgame heard that it was a bruise, or that they're hoping it's a bruise. But I guess they'll do some X-rays and figure out exactly what the situation is there. But ultimately, let's take some calls. 808-KNBR, the phone number. I think if we just said, who do you want to start next week, based on what we saw today? One guy got his butt kicked. The other guy came in for 3 plays and threw a touchdown. I think we know what the callers are going to say. They're going to say Garoppolo. And is it safe to say that 3 of us are kind of in that same camp as well?
Well, I was there. You
were there.
I think I was the lone wolf in saying I wanted to see him right away, but I understood, and you know this better than I do, that look, he earned the start today, by the way he played against the Giants, but I still wanted Garoppolo because I want as long of a trial as I can. So, look, I'm in the camp, and it really has nothing to do with the last 3 plays, although you can see a little bit of why, and you talked about the it factor. So, yeah, I'd like to see the guy play, but to me, it's also been about, we're coming up on Christmas here in a few weeks. Like, I want to open up the toy, I don't want to play with it, right? I think everybody thinks like that.
Well, I'm with Larry in the sense that, I wanted the offensive line to get an opportunity to get some health about them. That doesn't appear that that's going to be the case. We had Trent Brown out with a shoulder late in the week, and man, will that offensive line ever be back to a starting unit of 6 weeks ago? I don't know. Just from a pure health standpoint. And at some point, you have to see what you have in your new quarterback. So I think, me personally, I'm hesitant to play him versus Chicago. Chicago is playing tremendous defense right now. Tremendous defense. And maybe that is a good match just so you can see what you have. That's a tough matchup. It'll be interesting to see how we do from a scheme standpoint facing a very good Chicago defense.
If you want to chime in, 808-KNBR, the phone number. Some positives today. There were obviously a number of negatives. The 2 things that jumped out are just that the Seahawks still have difference-making talent. Bobby Wagner made a tremendous play on that interception / tackle, strip, fumble, whatever you want to call it. They ruled it an interception. Very athletic play, and we've come to expect that from Wagner. And then Russell Wilson. I mean, the guy's talking about Russell Wilson, but he accounted for 80% of their yards. They have no running game. Eddie Lacy, just a guy. McKissick, just a guy. Rawls wasn't even really out there. They don't have a running game. It's Russell, and more Russell. Mert, those 2 guys, they're the reason Seattle won a Super Bowl. They're the reason they looked like they were going to be dominant. And Wagner and Wilson are still the quarterback of the D, the quarterback of the O, as good as it gets in the league.
And don't forget about Mr. Bennett on the defensive line there. He can run up and down the line. He can be a matchup nightmare. And within their scheme, he's allowed to almost freelance in certain instances. So the 49ers had a lot to deal with those 3 individuals. And Russell Wilson, good. What do you say? He escaped sacks today that no normal NFL quarterback gets out of. It really was amazing to see what he consistently does for that Seattle Seahawks team.
Who do you think, going back, we're going to take a break here, but who do you think, he's the hardest guy to corral in the league right now. Who would you say in your day was the toughest quarterback to bring down? Because I'm watching Tank Carradine buried him. He doesn't go down. So the kid can take a hit. He's got a great base. He's got unbelievable leg strength, escapability, runs figure eights. He reminds me of Fran Tarkenton, but with a modern day superstar caliber athlete. It's unbelievable watching him.
The type of plays he gets out of, he being Russell Wilson, to me, is kind of what makes him unique. You've always had great athletes at that position. I think of guys like a Randall Cunningham. Certainly a Michael Vick in his early years. That when you have a 4.2 in your butt, you're not going to catch that guy if he has an edge on you. He gets out of plays that, to your point, guys have him physically wrapped up, and somehow he's slithering out. And because he's so accurate on the move, it makes it difficult for the defense. I feel bad for the Johnsons of the world, because you're covering guys an extra 5 or 6 seconds, and the quarterback shakes free. He's not going to miss open guy, and he's not going to be inaccurate. He's going to find out. So it just makes it doubly tough on the secondary, on any secondary, much less our secondary that's had some injury issues.
What's so weird about it is it's got to be really frustrating because their first read almost seems to never be open, and everything becomes backyard football with him. He's scrambling. It's a fire drill. You got to go plaster to your guy, and it's just difficult. And he's got such good chemistry with a guy like Doug Baldwin. That's where he's going. He scrambles. He goes to Baldwin, and yet it's still there. And it's crazy.
Coach Shanahan said it best in his pregame show on KNBR. He being Russell Wilson, he makes more plays off schedule than any other quarterback in the league. And the offenses and defenses are so accustomed to playing on schedule. When a guy can effectively still make first downs and keep your offense moving off schedule, that's a difficult thing to do.